Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Eclipse Kitchen. This recipe is one of my favorites for when I'm in the mood for something British with a Mandarin twist. My veggie fried rice is super easy and can either be done with 2 cups of leftover rice or the use of the Uncle Ben's Fast and Fancy Urban Wild rice pack. Sure, you can have chips with your fish, but that's a bit overrated, not to mention a bit higher carb. Okay, let's pull up the recipe and see what you'll need for this. There's the pack of Uncle Ben's Fast and Fancy Urban Wild rice. I personally like using this as a good base for fried rice. You really only need to cook this for 15 minutes on 7 or low-high with the lid on 3/4 and stir at the beginning and when most of the water is evaporated. You definitely want to cook this first before turning on the oven, then have the heat off the rice and remove the lid. This will help dry out the rice and get it ready for frying by the time the oven is ready. You can also use 2 cups of rice that you've cooked the day before and have in a container in the fridge. There we go again with the half dozen scrambled eggs. For this recipe, it makes sense. You want to have enough eggs incorporated into the fried rice. You can use less eggs if you want, I just find this ratio works for me. And here's the vegetables. I find having 2.5 cups of frozen mixed vegetables is about the right amount, so you have equal parts veggies to egg to rice ratio. I personally use the Green Giant frozen mixed vegetables as it doesn't have lima beans. You want to add this as a last ingredient after the soy sauce and ginger. This keeps the veggies tasting fresh. Here's the toonie/silver dollar amount of high quality oil. You may want to add a splash more when you're frying the rice, as this will keep it from sticking to the pan and to each other. The fish is a nice protein to have with this. You can pre-cook prawns or shrimp and add it to the fried rice as your protein, I suppose. So I use the blue water breaded cod as it doesn't have that much breading and they're bigger fillets. You can use whatever fish you want. It should be about the same amount of cooking time as the fish in this meal. The soy sauce is a definite must for this meal. How I measure it is to do 3 quick circles around the pan, and so far it's been just the right amount for a full pan of fried rice. You can use a bit more or a bit less, it's entirely up to you. The ginger powder is another must for the rice. Sure, you can use fresh crushed ginger in with the fried rice as you cook, but who really has the time or that root lying around anyways? I'm trying to keep this recipe super simple, not fancy. You can use as much ginger powder as you want. You may want to taste test as you go along or make mental notes for next time. Personally, that's what I do when I first create these recipes. Alright, now on to the main portion of the show. Okay, good. Grand. Yeah, tonight is going to be my veggie fried rice. I'm also going to do the breaded fish as my side. I don't need that yet. Doing that yet. I need my water, which I'm doing 1 3/4 cups water. I'm basically following the same instructions as this guy here. The Uncle Ben's. Yeah, let's see, there you go. The Uncle Ben's rice here. That's basically what I do as my base for my fried rice. It is very, very tasty. A good neutral flavor. Water in there. I'm just gonna get that going. And I'm pretty well gonna cook it, not per instructions. I'm gonna cook it the way I kind of like cooking it, which is sort of like what you would do with macaroni and cheese, but with rice. And it's just a little bit longer in cook time. So while I'm waiting for that, I got my parchment paper all set up on my pan. I always do that because it's easy cleanup. You just toss the parchment paper away. You don't have to worry about that. I got half a dozen eggs for the fried rice, which I'm going to crack while I'm waiting for the water to boil. And this way, the eggs will they'll go to room temperature and make it easier to cook with. And yeah, so and yeah, I always do like half a dozen of these recipes. Breakfast bowl is half a dozen, my fried rice is half a dozen. I just find it's an even number and it splits well when you get like a dozen eggs. And with farm fresh or free range eggs, the shells are a little bit more solid, which I really like. Now if you guys are wanting to reuse or recycle eggshells, best way is to wash them out, dry them up a little bit, and then if you have like a spice grinder, you can create bone meal from this, and that's a great way to get your calcium and a bunch of other vitamins and minerals that are within the eggshells. Man, learning stuff every day. So yeah, eggs ready. I'm just waiting for the water to boil so I can start get the rice on. And then basically what I do is I start with the rice, get that cooked, and then I turn on the oven at about the 5-minute mark. So when there's 5 minutes left on the rice, then I put the oven on. And then while that's going, I'll keep the lid off, let it sit there, thicken whatever it needs to do, and dry out. And that'll be the base for the fried rice. I just find it's a lot easier to do this method than having to cook rice the night before and then use leftover rice. Still turns out the same either way. And this I'm not going to spice or anything. All the spices are going to go in with the fried rice. And before that water boils, while it's boiling, I'm just going to close my freezer here, grab the vegetable I'm going to be using for this. So I'll get that measured out. So I don't exactly measure too much. So like standard 2.5. I think this is, it's either 2 cup or 2.5 cup bowl. Just give me a second, let me throw the spice in there. Quickly stir that around. And again, the Urban Wild Uncle Bud's is really, really good for a base. It has a neutral flavor, which I like. Just pull the rice in, and then not for instructions. I usually just stir once when I first put the rice in, put the lid on 3/4, time it for 15 minutes. That usually gives it enough time to, actually let's go 17 minutes. It's an extra 2 minutes. It does a big difference. But yeah, I just let that cook on its own. I don't touch it until I hit the 5-minute mark, or until most of the water's gone. So 2 cups, or 2 cup bowl. I have an assortment, so I'm just gonna mix my assortment because I have all the mixed vegetables in the center. I want to make sure that my does it peas. And this is a quick method of having vegetables in your fried rice. So I usually do that. There's a pea topping. I always find that sometimes. So I'm going to be putting basically a bowl full. Because I like my vegetables, I like having lots of vegetables, so I'll be putting that much. You guys can put however much of the frozen veg you want. This is just a quicker method on the Chinese channel. No MSG, just ginger and soy sauce, that's it. It's fine. That gives an even flavoring. And then I know that some places they put the plum sauce in. I usually put it on the side. Partly wish that they would do plum and apricot as the plum sauce, because those two taste really good together. But for some odd reason, whether it's for cheaper ingredients or whatever, most companies use plum and pumpkin. That's probably because pumpkin kind of gives that nice-ish texture. They sometimes add a little bit of tomato into it. But yeah, I know, what was it, Gold Dragon does a really good plum sauce. And that one is plum and apricot. So just waiting on that. That's going to be a little bit. I got my dishes pretty well done. I got everything else all set up. Well, except for what I'm going to plate the fish on. So, in all fancy fashion, I always do my plum sauce in a little square container. But yeah, it's another one of my favorite meals to make every month. Basically, all these meals, all these recipes are what I use on a regular basis every month. So yeah, it's pretty good so far. Breakfast bowl was really, really tasty. I really recommend you guys watch that episode and try it out for yourself. It was a lot of food. It's meant for 2 people, not 1. But I powered through, got it pretty well eaten. It was pretty well to die for. And yeah, just waiting on the never-ending boil of the rice. So yeah, once that's basically ready, I turn on the oven. Once the oven's ready, then I put the fish on, get the pan started up, and start making my fried rice. Because usually that takes me about around half an hour, 35 minutes to get the fried rice cooked. So yeah, it's just a matter of waiting for the timer to cool off and the rice to be finished. Let's see what the next episode. I think it's going to be the Alfredo next episode. I do have my list of what episodes coming up next. Oh no, it's the salmon casserole. Cool. That one's another good one that I like. And very easy to make too. Well, not easy. Shouldn't be saying easy, it should be saying simple. Most of these recipes, they range between being easy and being difficult, but they're all simple recipes. Yeah, so 12 minutes left. So yeah, I'm currently, well, by the time you guys watch this, I'll have the second channel or the second CRP channel up and running, which you're probably watching from. But yeah, you'll probably see the other 2 series that I'm going to be bringing out. What's it called? I can't even remember what I was writing or what I wrote in the description. Well, you'll be able to see everything in the About section of the channel. So I just have to do all the graphics for that. I'm currently working on Question Corner, getting the art assets for 3.0 of my characters done. Still looking for April's episode special guest. Right, yeah. Yep, I'm just eating on. At least this is a simple recipe, not very much ingredients. And with the spices, I usually do quite a bit of ginger because I like that earthy spice. You can use fresh ginger, which I would recommend. I just like the powder because of convenience. So what you would do is, if you're using like fresh vegetable, is throw in your oil, cook it, or throw in your fresh vegetable, and then I would I kind of make the ginger paste. So you take like fresh ginger and then you kind of fork it out until it kind of turns into a little bit of paste. You could also finely dice the ginger root up, and then you put it in with the vegetables, like get them cooked up, and then you add in the rice and the soy sauce and whatever else. So yeah, there's like multiple ways of doing this fried rice recipe. I just find this is the simplest and relatively quick. So yeah, I'm just waiting on this. Yep. So yeah, this is already starting to get, butter's already almost halfway through, which is good. It doesn't take long for the rice to cook. And just take it off the lid, or take off the lid, turn it off, and just leave it while the oven's turning on. Yeah. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. I can tell that it's starting to. I might actually keep it on like minimum or on 1, just to keep the heat in there. So I have a feeling that when that timer hits the 5-minute mark, I'll have to turn it down. I mean, I don't want it like stone cold either. Just watching it like a hawk. It's almost ready to turn off. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. So like I said, at this point, I'm just gonna go timer off because it's just gonna sit there. So put the oven on to 400 because that's how I like my oven on. pieces there. Still got a little bit of liquid, but it'll pretty well go away by the time we're ready to start cooking the fried rice. So yeah, this is again gonna be pretty fun recipe. The fish that I use is breaded cod from Blue Water. Really good. It's a bit of a lean fish, but it's wild cod. It's breading's not even. It's really thin. But yeah, I usually put all the fish that I'm going to be using for the month in a Ziploc bag. But yeah, it's pretty thin. Let's just bring it up. So yeah, you can actually see right through where the breading ends and where the fish starts. It's really good, really good fish. Cod itself is pretty fatty. If you do fresh fish and chips, or fresh fish, would definitely do the panko breadcrumbs with it. That would be the best bet for doing it like a thin breading. And I think it's about 40 minutes or so in the oven. Look at that, my rice is almost ready. I'm just keeping it on one just to continue getting all that liquid out without burning it. So yeah. I'm just waiting on the oven now. Should take about 5-10 minutes, maybe 15 now. This oven's kind of weird. Sometimes it takes like lickety split to heat up to where you want it. Other times it takes forever. So just waiting on that. But yeah, each one of these episodes are going to be good recipes, pretty healthy recipes. Again, I'm always going to be, like, if I'm going to use a oil, it's definitely going to be the avocado, or it's going to be butter. One of those two. It's kind of my go-to for cooking. Most of the time it's going to be the avocado oil. It's kind of funny that I like avocado oil, don't like avocados. But yeah, it's a really good oil. It's a high heat or high temp oil, so you can go blast it on 500 and it'll be fine. None of the nutrition will go out of it at those high temperatures. It's the brand that I get, the expeller press, as well as it's naturally refined, so there's no actual process to this. It's one of the least processed oils out there. But anytime you get a oil, especially when it comes to like olive oil and like this oil, you want it expeller press, because that takes as much of the oil out of the fruit as it possibly can without taking away any of the nutrition. So you get everything, you get more bang for your buck with that way. I guess I'm kind of starting my rice, and want to make sure that it doesn't burn, even though I have that on, but all the water is just about done, which is good. I got my rice almost ready. The oven is still taking forever. Yeah, and the soy sauce. Well, I like the, not the Panda brand news. I mean, Kikkoman's good. I really like Kikkoman when it comes to regular soy sauce. I like the dark soy sauce, but I can't remember what brand I usually get. But this one is just basically soybeans, wheat, and brewing starter. That's about it. Oh, and water. Right. And then what they do is they put it in big huge oak barrels. Well, either oak or some type of wood barrel. And then they put like a crap ton of salt on top. And then that's basically how they ferment it. I like Kikkoman because it's not as salty as some of the other companies, I find. And the way they process it is really, really interesting watching it. So, yeah, no preservatives, because what they do is they use salt as the preservative. They don't use any other chemical, which is good. But yeah, there's a lot less sodium in this than a couple of pinches of that, so, or a couple of pinches of salt. That's why when people are on the internet when people on the internet are showing how to do scrambled eggs and they use soy sauce, that's kind of the reason, because this is lower sodium than that. But sodium is a electrolyte, and if you get too much, then you kind of start retaining water. If you have that right amount of balance, you don't have to worry about that. It'll keep you going, just like with magnesium. What's the other one? Sodium, magnesium, and potassium are the three high electrolytes that your body needs. And it's kind of surprising what the quantities of each of those vitamins you need. For instance, potassium, which is generally in potatoes, you need about 4,000 milligrams of potassium. I think about 2,500 grams or 2,500 milligrams, I think, of sodium, and then what's the other one? Magnesium is about 450 milligrams. Around there, 300, 400, 450, give or take. I'm trying to run off of my memory here. But yeah, rice is basically ready. I'm just gonna let it sit. Okay, oven, hurry up. But yeah, this is basically everything that you need to make this fried rice. It's stupidly simple. The cooking process takes a little bit, but once I get the pan going, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. My toasting skills are kind of, they're okay, just I'm not perfect at it. I'm still learning how to do the pan flip. That's why when I was doing the breakfast bowl, it was really surprising that I almost had a full intact hash brown. I think it was just like one corner was, or the little side didn't flip over, but that's fine. It sometimes happens with cooking. You want it to go one way and then it goes completely the opposite, and then you have to kind of readjust. You know, this is more of a science than science is, but sometimes the outcome is a lot different each time. So, yeah. Come on, oven. Oven, hurry up. But yeah, this is all going to be uncut for the most part. I'll probably cut, like when I'm doing the scones at one point in time, I will be cutting the cook time. So you'll see me make the dough and put it on the pan, and then I'll cut it there, and then come back when the scones are finished. I'm putting them onto the cooling rack. I think that's the only meal that I'm going to be. Oh no, not the only meal. The was it the chili would be the other one that I'll be cutting in between. So you'll be like seeing me kind of cut out. Like I'll make the chili base, get it started cooking, and then when each of the 15-minute intervals ends, I'll be putting the camera back on, show you how I do the next little bit, and then cut out to each time. Because that thing takes about 2 hours to cook, the way I do it. I don't use a crock pot because I find if you're not going to cook it for very long, why use a crock pot? You just do 15-minute intervals, stir it, put chili powder, and that's it. Okay, open. Can you please hurry up? So yeah, I just have that to do. I have all the spices. I've made sure that I have all the ingredients for each one of these recipes. I will be doing soft tacos at one point in time. Probably it will be like the last episode will be the soft tacos, and that'll be really good food. I tend to make my chili and my soft taco meat mix on the spicy side, mainly because I love spice, I love flavor. So I'm like, if it's gonna be chili, I do chili powder, I do garlic, chili powder, and cinnamon with my chili. And I find those three combined are really good. The cinnamon just enhances the chili powder's spiciness. Sometimes I add a little too much cinnamon, and then it goes like, it's like burn your mouth off, or burn your mouth hot. But yeah, all these recipes are good. What's the next? Okay, there's that one. And of course I get a message right while I'm filming. What's the one that I really like? Oh yeah, there's the, I think on Friday, so when I'm filming this on Friday, on my end, I'm going to be doing the pasta and Alfredo. That one's a really good recipe, and it's pretty darn close to the true Italian style. The only changes that I ever did on that was do whole cream, and I use a different cheese. That's it. Everything else is to the original recipe. So that's gonna be a good meal. And then pairing with that, I think I called it the leftover buns garlic bread. So like if you have like hamburger buns and you don't know what to do with them, I have a great recipe for doing that, or making garlic bread out of that. It's a really neat recipe for that. And it's very cheesy, so in fact my scones that I'm going to be pairing with the chili, that itself has a lot of cheese on it. I think I put like 2 or 3 cups worth of cheese. It's like, and then I just load on the garlic because I love garlic. The original recipe calls for cayenne pepper. I'm like, thank you. And there's the oven, and my rice is basically ready to go. And so I think I need about 6 pieces of salmon. So yeah, a little bit carby. I up the protein. This meal is pretty lean in terms of fat content. What I do is to offset the amount of carbs, I increase the protein just a little bit. 3, 4. These are nice big fillets, like size of my palm almost, size fillets. That's the one thing, or one difference between getting like fish sticks or Highliner. Well, sometimes Highliner's good, but this blue water is fantastic because they use the whole fish fillets rather than either minced fish or they take like the lean parts of the cod. This is okay, but with fish you want. There we go. With fish, you do want a fatty fish. You want those omega-3s that are in there. I think it's either Pacific cod or Pacific salmon. I think it's Pacific salmon. Sockeye, sorry. I just had to look at my Canada salmon there. But yeah, any type of fatty fish is really good. It's high in 30 minutes, thank you. Jeez, I lost my train of thought. Any type of fatty fish is what you want to go for in terms of nutrition. So you'll get all your DHA, EPA, or DHA and EPA, so your omega-3 fatty acids. I think, if I remember correctly, the salmon contains the omega-9 as well in trace amounts. So you're getting a lot of literal brain food and nerve food. So actually, I need a little bit more because I'm going to keep this out. Because that was 2 tablespoons. I need 1 more tablespoon. And yeah, I've used oil so much that I know what size is how many tablespoons. I don't really have to measure out that much. If you guys aren't that confident in that, just use like the measuring tablespoon. Let me just grab it here for a second. That's the teaspoon. Tablespoon, where are you? Buried under a million things. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to move the camera just a little bit forward so I can grab the utensil I'm trying to talk about. There you are. But yeah, usually this thing here, the tablespoon, you want to do like either 2 or 3 of those. For the fried rice, I probably do about 4 tablespoons. Let me remove that back into place. There we go. So yeah, I usually do about 4 tablespoons in total with my fried rice, keeping with that 70% fat ratio with the meal. Do low carb. I mean, this is moderate carb right here, but I had my vegetables, I had my protein, and then I have my fatty fish as my main protein. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for the oil to get heated up. And I know some people, when they do their fried rice, they do the frying of the rice first and then they add everything else. I kind of do mine a little different. Just make sure that my pan is nice and mild. I'm going a little higher because I want to make sure that I don't have anything sticking. There we go. So, pan's ready. The oil is almost ready. I've been eggs twice in a row this month. Actually, it'll be 3 times for me because I like doing, when I do my fried rice, I like having my fish and fried rice back to back. So I'll do like this one now, and then I'll have the leftover rice or leftover fried rice tomorrow. And what you want to do with leftover fried rice, if you want to do stovetop, is you add in a tablespoon or two of oil. Make sure that the pan is covered with the oil up to how I do it here. And then you just put the rice in and let it cook for about 10-12 minutes on medium. Just until everything's nice and hot, and then you're good to go. Right. Talking about good to go, my oil is basically ready to go. But yeah, I don't do anything to the egg when I'm doing the fried rice because all my flavoring is going to be in the soy sauce and the ginger. And I'm just going to rinse this off while the egg starts doing its thing. There we go. So this should be like the putting together everything. That's the quick part. And I'll move the camera so you guys can actually see exactly what I'm doing. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna move the camera here so you guys can watch exactly what I do. So, here we go. I'm gonna have to move. Bear with me for a second. Like I said, this is gonna be all uncut, so I'm also being the camera person on top of being director, on top of being the actor. So yeah, yeah, you can see it good. So yeah, the eggs are already starting to cook, and just like I did with the breakfast bowl eggs, I just try and keep it moving. When I see like a big piece, then I'm gonna try and tear it apart. This way keeps the egg nice and small, and don't have to worry about that. So cooking oriental using chopsticks. I use chopsticks for almost every single bit of cooking that I do. In terms of cooking. So like when I do pasta, I use chopsticks. When I'm doing my sauces, I do chopsticks. We'll be doing an episode later in the year showing you guys how I do my marinara sauce, which is a very, 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 very good sauce. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing like spaghetti and meat sauce-esque meal with that. So I'll have like the fresh pasta, well, freshly cooked pasta, and then the homemade marinara sauce. Probably do an Alfredo with that as well. So probably see me do the Alfredo sauce on top of doing the marinara. Because I kind of like, I really like those two together. So whenever I do like fettuccine, I always do half meat sauce, half Alfredo. See, the egg's almost ready to go. Just have to keep it moving, But yeah, I'm making sure that the egg is in nice little pieces. And if you notice, I'm going like one direction and then the other is just to help break everything apart. It's like pretty easy with this. My roommate's probably wondering what the heck I'm doing. But yeah, to me these are all simple recipes. They're really healthy recipes. Quick cleanup too with some of them. So there we go. So my egg is just about ready. As you see, nice small little pieces. Most of the time I would be using chopsticks to eat my rice with, but today I'm kind of using the spoon. kind of cheating a little bit. I mean, I could do chopsticks. It's one more dish for me to wash, but there we go. So yeah, it's about right. So basically, I don't need the chopsticks anymore. Could have used the rubber scraper, and I don't turn down my heat at all. So yeah, just leaving the rice open like that while you're doing your eggs, while you're waiting for the oven to heat up, helps with drying out the rice, so it'll accept the soy sauce a lot better. And that's about it. So I'll do that for now. Actually, there we go. I want to get that soaking so it doesn't. So I'm going to add a little bit more oil because the eggs kind of absorb everything. Just don't want the rice to stick, so just a little bit. And as always, I recommend, if you do want to use like sunflower oil, make sure that it's exfoliate pressed, because it's a lot better for you. It'll help to guarantee that it's not going to be like cheap stuff. Like the cheap stuff, they'll add stuff to it that just wrecks the pan. Oh good, you are... I was just testing to see if the rice was going to stick. And I'll put the soy sauce in with the spice preference, to personal preference, because it depends on if you like a lot of soy sauce or if you like a little bit of soy sauce. This is just like the spice to me, or this is basically the spice of meal, so it's to personal preference. So then my ginger, and for some reason, you know how people sneeze with pepper? I don't sneeze with pepper, I sneeze with ginger. I don't know why. I guess I'm putting a lot in. I love ginger. Talk about sneezing. Oh. I gotta stop. I gotta hold the sneeze. Gotta hold the sneeze. Ginger always does that every time I cook with it. Always makes me sneeze. A little bit more, and I use a lot of ginger, so. Use the Colonel Salvador. But ginger is really good for you anyway, so. Spices, period, are pretty good for you. Like especially your Italian spices, like your thyme, your oregano, your basil. Getting fresh spices and herbs are probably the better way to go. But in terms of affordability, you're probably better off with getting the dried stuff. The ginger is pretty cheap getting the fresh stuff, so you're gonna put that. Now I get to add my vegetable. Holy crap, I actually measured it out perfect. That's a first time for me. That's about how much I normally put in without measuring for my spices, or for my vegetable. That's about it. Spring rice just needs to cook. I'm going to turn it down to 4, so it's still kind of on medium, but I want to get it cooking. Just making sure everything's all mixed together. And look at that, I got 17 minutes left. So, I don't do like a big toss, but I do a little bit of a toss. Just to help keep everything stirred up. But yeah, that's basically the fried rice mid-cook. And I think I'm going to need, I think how much is going to be left. I think I can get away with this. So for me, I usually cut this in half, put half in my bowl, and then put the other half in the leftovers. So yeah. Make sure that I have that already. I don't need the oil anymore. I'm just putting away everything that I don't need. So soy sauce and ginger, I've got enough ginger in there, and I got enough soy sauce. I'm just gonna reach across for a second, put everything away. And yes, I gotta check when it comes to my chili. I use canned mushrooms. Just want to make sure that this is going to go right. I need to cook evenly. Oh, I didn't spill a little bag. Put a finger to it. But yeah, this is basically the fried rice is put together. It just needs to fry up a little bit. And this, for one package of Devil Buns rice, this is about almost 5 pounds of, it's either 3 or 5 pounds of food there. So I'll cut it in half, take half for me for tonight, the other half will go for leftovers. This will do definitely to like 2 or 3 people. So I got 14 minutes left until basically the meal is done. I know some people like really fry up the rice, but I like some of the pieces to be like fried, but I like it kind of a mix between like crunchy bit or fully fried rice and then just the regular rice. So yeah, this is cooked pretty good. I really like this. Just want to make sure that I like making sure that everything's really evenly cooked. And maybe this is not a wok. Normally you would be using a wok, but I mean they call this thing a wok. I'm like, dude. Usually a wok is like completely rounded on the bottom, and you have 2 handles to do your tossing of the rice. And it's a lot deeper. It's usually about usually about that deep. I just call this one my big frying pan. big frying pan. But yeah, so just a little bit more cooking. Actually could keep it up water. Get enough oil in there, like. Yeah, I got enough oil that I can keep it at a higher temperature. But yeah, that's basically the fried rice right there. And then I usually cook it for the full half hour. So by the time the fish is cooked, the rice is nice and cooked together, everything's ready to go. 12 minutes. Yeah, you know, I'll make my chocolate milk. I'll make my chocolate milk off screen. I have my drink ready. I only have like, what, 10 minutes? 12 minutes? And yeah, I always do chocolate milk with every meal because I get my bit of melatonin by the time I'm done eating my supper. I usually give myself about a 2 to 3 hour eating time window, so I usually make my supper at like 8 o'clock. Usually by 11, 12, or 11 midnight, I'll be completely done cooking, or done eating. That's including my dessert, which is generally either 2 yogurt cups. It'll be like 4 arrowroot cookies and 4 pieces of chocolate, and that's my dessert. And then I have popcorn for my snack whenever I need it. And then once it hits at 11 o'clock, 12 or 11 p.m. midnight, then it's cut off food, and then I do the intermittent fasting from that point to 8 o'clock or so. Yeah, 8 o'clock the next day. So, yeah. And I will recommend you do intermittent fasting while you're doing these recipes. It's guaranteed if you do like between 18 and 20 hours, you're definitely going to see a lot of difference in terms of overall well-being. You'll stop having like brain fog, you'll start having energy, and you won't want to eat like every hour and a half, every 2 hours. There we go. I'm actually doing pretty good for the toss. I only dropped a few items this time around. Granted, I'm using my left to do the tossing, which is my stronger of the 2 arms. I still have 10 minutes. Good. So I can get these dishes made, or done up, while I'm waiting for that to finish cooking. But yeah, this is basically what I do when I'm cooking off screen. Is I'll have my food going, I'll have my sink going. Whenever I dirty a dish, it gets washed right away. I don't have to worry about. Ooh, I have a lot of dirty dishes. Now I just have like 1 or 2 at the end. So. Makes dishes go a lot faster. I find it's while you're cooking, you clean up as you go along. Wash, dry, put away. Well, in this case, it would be just wash, dry, and wait until after to put away. But yeah. And I'm hearing the snap, crackle, and pop of the crisp rice food. Crisp riceys, no. But yeah. That is the number one reason why I put so much oil in. Just to keep the food from sticking to the bottom of the pan. Is that ready? 2 more? Try to think what else. Oh, right. Good tip on doing or washing oily pans. Always put when you've finished using the pan, dip it upside down and run it under hot water. That'll cool the pan pretty quickly without warping it. And then once it's kind of warm-ish, then you just throw a little bit of soap directly in the pan. Take your scrubbing cloth or your scrubbing implement and then just scrub with the soap in it. That'll ensure that the oils are gone, and then you just wash it up like normal. So that's a neat little tip there for in the dishes. I find it makes dishes go a lot easier when you do that method than having to wash the water or wash the dish like 2, 3, 4 times just to get the oil off. There we go. So that is washed. And let's go for 7 minutes. This is great. But yeah, you get to see me do everything uncut for all these episodes. I'm really liking this structure because then it's less editing for me. I just go, okay, here's the raw footage of this. I'll just animate the intro, animate the extro, or the outro, and that's it. Makes it simple. Gets my production. Well, it will take a long time to render all these, but hopefully I can get them all rendered before February. The last week is going to be very, 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 very busy. Yeah, this is almost ready. But yeah, I don't cook my vegetables, I just warm them up in the frying pan. I find when it comes to frozen vegetables, you just want to warm them up, you don't really want to cook them. Unless it's like broccoli, then, or broccoli and cauliflower, then you may want to steam them for like a couple minutes. Just until they're nice and hot. But yeah, got 5 more minutes. But yeah, see, what you don't want with your eggs, but when it comes to fried rice, is the eggs starting to brown a little bit. That's not really what you want for eggs. That just means it's kind of overcooking. When it comes to scrambled eggs, you want them dry, but you don't want them too brown. Like you don't want them too dry either. Just until there's no like liquid left. That's where you want to take them off the heat, throw them on a plate, and serve them up. Any longer, then you start losing a bit of the nutrition. Not much, just a small amount. There's a chemical in the eggs that I can't remember what it's called, but it reacts to heat very easily, so you don't want to cook the eggs too much, otherwise it's that chemical. I can't remember what the chemical is called. I'll probably do like an annotation or a little asterisk thing under the video saying, oh yeah, it's this chemical here. But yeah, you don't want to overcook your eggs. You want to keep them sort of at the medium range. So with fried eggs, you really should have it on over easy. Like keep the yolk pretty liquidy. Great for dipping toast in. But yeah, medium is about the max that you want your fried eggs to be at. Anything more than you're like just overcooking them. I know some people like hard eggs. If you want it kind of like that, I would do hard-boiled eggs. That's a better way of doing that. You could also do poached eggs on toast, which is another fun little thing. Which it doesn't take that long, and I think maximum like 3-4 minutes. You just want to make it. Basically, you boil water, crack an egg, pop the egg into the water, let it boil until the whites are solid around the egg, or around the yolk. Then you just scoop it out, put it on your toast or whatever. There you go. It's about the simplicity of poached eggs. Some people usually boil it longer. I just go until the white of the egg is solid, or mostly solid. So this is basically ready. I got 2 minutes left. I turn off the oven at 2 minutes because I'm gonna let the residual heat from the oven heat that up. While that's finishing cooking, I'm going to be serving up my rice right away. So I usually do about half of this, and then the other half goes into the container. There we go. So we get really, really hungry. Yeah, let's take it off, I think. One more scoop. I like the rice. There. So that's that. That's that in here. There we go. This is the plating aspect. And then for preference, you can put as much or as little. That I don't really do soy sauce on my fried rice because fried rice already has soy sauce. So take this over here. Let me adjust the camera here for a second. Oh, I'll have to go there. Let's see. Do I have to? Okay, just give me a second. Okay. So basically, oh, I saw to turn it up a little higher. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna go about there, just so you guys can see what it's gonna be like to plate this. So here comes the oven. I already have my fried rice pre-plated, and the reason why I put the plate on top is to keep the fried rice nice and hot, and for two, we'll keep the fish nice and tasty. Normally you would use a oven mitt, but I want to be quick with this, so fine. Let's get those last two pieces in. But yeah, half an hour, fish is cooked. I don't even flip them. I just let them cook on one side, because eventually it'll cook on the other side if you leave them on long enough. But there we go. Right, last a little bit, and then that's basically it for plating. There we go. That's about how much plum sauce I used for the fish, but with that's about it for this episode. Let me just get that down. Oops, there we go. And so yeah, let's just trying to readjust my camera a little bit. But yeah, that's the veggie fried rice, and I'm just gonna move this over here. So yeah, that's about it for this episode. Got everything all done. I'm just gotta put everything away. So my fried rice will sit here on the counter while I'm putting stuff away and doing dishes. So yeah, that's about it.
Here's where you could find me and my counterpart. Follow us on Twitter and join our Facebook group where you'll get regular updates on what's going on. Subscribe to this channel and our main channel to see all the wonderful content we'll bring to you. And last but not least, become a Patreon and donate to our coffee to show your support for more content like this and more. You all have a great day.